Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new 2023 Toyota Sequoia Limited. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys. Now, if you're a consistent watcher of my channel, you'll know that it's about at this point in the intro that I would have some wacky cutaway joke or a riff on how ugly the front end of a vehicle looks. But honestly, this Sequoia looks pretty good, and I'm kind of on a time crunch, so I can't film a big cutaway. And if you're new to my channel, and this is the first video of mine you've ever watched, you're probably thinking, wait, you normally do what? Can't you just review the car like everybody else? Which honestly should probably be the title of my autobiography someday. Can't you just review the car like everybody else? All right, let's get started with the actual review. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Lancaster Toyota in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for allowing me to borrow this vehicle to review. For all your Toyota needs in the Lancaster area, I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. Starting out up front on the Sequoia, now the Sequoia has been around for quite a while, and it's always shared the same architecture as the Tundra. But for the first time in Toyota history, I would say that this Sequoia actually looks better than the Tundra, especially when it comes to front end styling. This is exactly how I would personally recommend Toyota should have done the Tundra grille. I do not like how they made the grille basically the entirety of the front of the truck. I've said it before, looks like a largemouth bass, and it's very silly. But here, it's a lot more sleek. I really wish they did this with the Tundra, and I'm really hoping that they do this with the Tacoma that's upcoming, the next generation of that, where they have a grille more reminiscent of this and less reminiscent of that. But speaking of the front end here, let's start with the headlights. Full LEDs, LED daytime running lights, and LED turn signals, and they are this kind of cool swooping design. And then down here, you'll have a pass-through for air, parking sensors dotting the front of the grille. Your LED fog lights are located more towards the center here. You'll have an air dam located at the bottom. And then there is a sensor right here at the lower portion of the grille for Toyota's safety sense features. That's your lane keeping assist, radar guided cruise control, stuff like that. That is the sensor right there. Previously, it was located in the Toyota badge, but here the Toyota badge is open, again, for better airflow, and it does have blue accenting because this is the iForce Max hybrid engine underneath the hood. We'll talk about that in a second. The last thing I'd like to mention up front here is there is a camera for the 360-degree camera system. I always say that in the same cadence. Anytime I'm talking about a front-end camera, I always go, for the 360-degree camera system. You know, like I inflect the same way. I should mix that up, you know, like for the 300 and... Never mind, I'm just gonna keep using the same inflection. That was horrific. Moving underneath the big old hood of the big old Sequoia, this is powered by Toyota's iForce Max hybrid twin-turbo V6 engine, making 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired to a 10-speed automatic. All right, moving to the profile of this Sequoia, starting here with the wheels and tires, you'll get 265/70R Michelins around these 18-inch wheels. I love the two-tone design on this. I think the silver and black contrasts incredible. These are probably my favorite wheels available on the Sequoia, even though they're not the largest. I believe you can get up to 22s on these, which are just gigantic. Here you'll have kind of a gunmetal gray fender flare. They're not matte, they actually are painted. And then up here you'll have your iForce Max badge. If we go here to the mirror, it is body color silver with turn signal indicator implemented, and there is a camera down here for the 360-degree camera system. Now normally I do not have the mirrors folded, and you might be going like, Isaac, why do you have them folded? Well, this does have keyless entry, so what I can do here is I can put my hand, oh, come on, do it. There we go. Put my hand there if it senses I have the key in my pocket, and it will fold the mirrors out and unlock the vehicle. Now that the mirrors are folded out, you can see there is also blind spot monitoring. They are also power mirrors, like obviously power moving in addition to power folding. And then if you want, you can just tap that right there, and that will lock the car and fold the mirrors back in. Very convenient, especially on big city streets. You'll have stationary running boards right down here and a limited badge on the lower portion of the front door. I really like the lines on this. Again, very reminiscent of the Tundra, especially with the headlight line that goes down there, and then the back that's very similar. Again, they're on the same architecture, so they share a lot of similar components, especially in design. But personally, I think this thing knocks it out of the park a little bit more than that one does. Here you'll have the rear door handle, and again, I just want to talk about how cool it is with the accenting line right there. I really like that. You'll have your gas cap, and then up here it does say TRD Off-Road because that is the sub-trim of this Limited. This does have the Toyota Racing Development off-road package on it, so there is some off-road capability. Then here you'll have your really sleek taillights. Again, a blue accented Toyota badge back here. This button, if I'm not mistaken, pops your top glass. So that opens up. Love to see that. I always love it when SUVs have this. It's very rare, but you see it on stuff like the Tahoe and the Yukon still, which are basically the same vehicle. Love that the Sequoia retains this too. And that's just so much more convenient than opening the entire rear hatch up. So it'll say Sequoia down here on the lower portion of the liftgate. You'll have a backup camera right there, and then parking sensors do dot the lower portion of this rear end. Now, I want to highlight the key fob very quick. It's pretty simple, nothing on the back. A lock, unlock, and then the button to open the liftgate. Now, here's the thing. Those are some pretty cool taillights. Here's the thing. You can also swipe your foot right here to open up the rear liftgate. That is a cool and convenient feature. So we've got the key. We've got the foot swipe. There is also a button up here to lower it from inside here, and you can also hit this other one if you want to lock the vehicle as you're walking away. I like that it has a little QR code here to kind of tell you how to do it. So that's really neat. And then if we go into the rear here, you have a little cargo divider that I'm going to take off, and that's a nice little convenience thing. Now this is very amusing to me. You do lose some storage space back here compared to the outgoing model. And really there's not a lot with the third row seats folded up here, you know, but you can lift this little panel up and take it off for like just a tiny little bit of storage right down here. And you can move these little dividers. So I just think this is so funny. I have to show you this. So let me put this down because there's a little bit more I want to talk about. This is like the dinkiest little rubber floor mat I've ever seen for just this little tiny eensy weensy bit of carpet right here. You get this little floor mat. It's gotta be one of my favorite things that I've ever seen. I'm like, this is like, why even go to the effort? But Toyota did. I think it's so silly, but it is included. So there is some other semi-useful quirks back here. You can take this off. As you can see, I lifted it off before. What you can actually do is there's kind of a positioning system. Oop, I gotta get it in place here. It's hard to do with one hand. There you go. Positioning system, so you can actually move this up if you want to use it as like a little workbench with your little rubber floor mat cover. And you could even raise it a little bit higher if you wanted. So that is kind of neat practicality usage with the very limited space that you do have here in the rear seats. Now, right here there is handles, and you can actually push these third row seats forward a little bit for a tiny bit more space. So there is a little bit of practicality there, though you greatly sacrifice pretty much 100% of your leg room if you have people in the back. Now, I'm going to pull these back just a little bit, and then I'm going to show you, you do have the ability to tap that button and fold the third row seats down. So my thinking is, and I believe I'm right here, yes. So if we do this, I'm spending a lot of time on this, but you know, there's probably someone out there that wants to know how to do this. you can move that up so there's a more flush load floor there. So that's kind of a neat little convenience thing from Toyota. They were thinking, hey, we're losing some storage room back here. How can we still use that? And I guess if you want, you can kind of, well, you'd be lying to yourself if you did that. I was gonna say kind of fill it in with the little rubber floor mat. Actually, no, you can do that. Hold on, I'm remembering this now. You can. Look at this. Da, 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 da. I was out a couple of months ago with Safian Bey of Redline Reviews, and he had a Sequoia as a tester. Yeah, that's right. We hang out. And as I'm doing this, I remembered that he showed me this. So I was like, yes, it does do that. So there is more of a flush load floor right there. I mean, again, it's not great, but it's still pretty cool. Last thing I wanted to highlight back here is you can also tap these. Actually, you have to hold these buttons, and you can raise the seats back up. So there is the ability to lower and raise the third row seats from here. If I had to use one word to describe the rear, well, oh shoot, I'm gonna need 2 words. Okay, 2 words to describe the rear of this Sequoia. Inconveniently nifty. It's nifty, but it's not exactly convenient. Moving to the interior of this new Sequoia, it is again very reminiscent of the Tundra, and you'd expect it to be. So, that being said, it's very utilitarian in here. It gets the job done, though there are still some very high quality premium materials. It doesn't really stand out as a specifically luxury focused vehicle. It rides the line of off-roady cool premium features and some nice luxury. I was going to say luxurious, and then I was like, wait, should I say luxury or luxurious? And I kind of just ended up in the middle there. There's good luxury features with this. So let's start here with the door panel. You'll have a nice soft touch material up here, some cool stitching along the door, and then down here, pretty standard Toyota buttons, similar, if not the same ones that are found in my Tacoma from a couple of years ago. That's funny. But, you know, they are still very premium. One touch down, I believe. Yep, one touch down, one touch up for all of these windows. Then you'll have lock, unlock, and the lock out for the rear windows for the kids. And then you'll have the automatic folding mirror button right there. You can fold them out and have them on auto if you want. And then the power mirror controls right there. Then down here, you'll have a lot of your different buttons for your lighting. Then you'll have your gas cap button. Heated steering wheel gets kind of pushed into here. It's not a button on the steering wheel. This is the button for the AC 120 volt outlet in the back. And then some parking sensors and cruise control or odometer buttons right there. The cruise control is on the steering wheel. We'll talk about that in a second. There is manual tilting and telescoping of the steering wheel. And then up here, again, pretty standard Toyota wiper and turn signal stock. The steering wheel is very comfortable, leather wrapped. I obviously have the heating on. There was a lot of complaints on the Tundra that the heated steering wheel just didn't really work very good. I'm happy to report that at least for 23, this steering wheel gets warm pretty much everywhere. Down here, it gets a little warm, but it's noticeably hotter around here. So I just wanted to, normally not something I'd even talk about, but since this was an issue on the Tundra, I figured I'd comment on it. Yeah, this is getting like a little warm. This is noticeably hotter around the rest of the steering wheel. But right on here, you'll have your volume, your Bluetooth settings, and your controls. For the left side of this screen right here, actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this controls most of it. So you'll have, pretty standard fuel economy. Obviously, I've just turned this vehicle on to drive it about 30 yards. So only raking in 4.3 miles to the gallon. But this is a fully digital gauge cluster, which is really neat, which means it's very configurable. So if I turn the drive mode selector here, you can see the entirety of the screen changes. I can go to normal, eco, and it kind of tells me what I'm changing there. It gives you a kind of a diagram in there, which is really neat. You can see the gauges are blue. I believe that did change them. So if we switch it to sport here, you can see that it does give you a different kind of setup on the screen, which is nice. And then down here you have your radar guided cruise control settings. So if we want to turn all that on, we can set a following distance. We can do quite a few different things right there. There's a lot of different settings. Whoops, turned Sirius on by accident. There we go. But obviously a lot of configurability in that gauge cluster screen. And fully digital. That is so weird to see the fully digital turn signals, but there they are. And down here you will have your trailer brake assist. This has a TRD push button start, and then the massive screen that Toyota has included on the Tundra as well. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto obviously incorporated into this. There is like a subscription service, which I am not a huge fan of. I really wish manufacturers didn't do this, but it seems like unfortunately that's the way we're going with a lot of vehicles. Now, I should clarify, you do not need the subscription service for navigation and everything for this screen to function. Obviously, you can play AM, FM radio, you can do Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it really does push for that, which I'm not a huge fan of. Down here, you'll have all your climate controls right there. Yeah, heated seats, cooled seats, and a massive volume button for the radio. I do like that they still have that volume button. One regular USB. That's kind of silly to put that right there, but there you go. And then you do have this little screen that gives you the full readout for your climate controls. One thing I'd like to do really quick while we're up here with the screen is I'm going to throw it into reverse. You can see that there is a backup camera with guiding lines, and it does turn with the wheel. And you also have an overhead top-down view, and the lines also turn with that as well. I'll move a little bit. You can see that's really convenient. And there is a lot of different cameras you can go to. So if I wanted to just go to my front camera, which I don't know why I would, but you could go to the mirror cameras. You can go kind of flip the angle so you can see different angles of that side camera. That's really neat. This is catching up with Chevy in the amount of camera angles that are offered and the quality. These camera angles are much higher quality than the outgoing Toyotas that have included them for the 360 degrees. So I'm really impressed with that. Still would not say they're the best in the market. I would still say Chevy and the General Motors products probably have the best backup camera, 360 degree camera systems, but Toyota is very close, and I am very impressed with how far they've come so quickly with the quality of their cameras. So throwing this back into park, we do have a little TRD shifter down there, and then you have a button to just go to your camera view if you want right from there. This is a 360 degree surround view system. Not the largest fan of this, but it does help, I suppose, if you would want to use that. Trailering right there, traction control off, and then this does have a rear locker as a part of that TRD off-road package. Electronic parking brake right there. Then your drive mode selector is down here. You do have multi-terrain select, which is an off-road feature, crawl control, which is off-road, and then towing, which I hope you're not doing too much towing off-road, but that is all incorporated right into here. Then you'll have your 2, 4, and 4 low four-wheel drive settings right there. And then if we move over here, we can tap this to reveal 2 cup holders. There's also a Qi wireless charger right there. That is very convenient. And then if we move to the armrest, I think this is very interesting. I was like, ooh, this piece looks like it would move because it's the same faux carbon fiber material as this. So I'm just trying to figure it out. And if you really do give it a pull, it opens up. I don't know, you could store a couple pens in there, maybe a credit card, one single one, but it's there. And then you could open this up to have quick access to a USB and USB-C and some storage. And if you want, you can open up the entirety of this for some coin slots and positionable little dividers right there. So that's nice that they've included that, and Toyota's gone the extra length to really give you storage, and that's good. I'm glad that the storage was not sacrificed up here like it was a little bit in the rear of this thing. Now, if we move up to the mirror, this is definitely a vehicle that is hard to see out of. As you can see, just looking in this mirror here, I know obviously my camera is obstructing a lot of it. There's me. And so it's just with the third row up, you're not getting a lot of view out of the back here. But thankfully, this is one of the few vehicles that I think really needs this. you can flip that little switch and it becomes a camera that is sticking out of the rear, one of the rear lights right there in the third brake light. And that gives you a much better view out of the back. And then if you have a bunch of people sitting in the back here, they're not obstructing your view. So I'm so thankful that this camera technology has kind of become widespread. I remember about 3 years ago, I was reviewing a Land Rover Defender that had this technology. I think that was the first vehicle that I reviewed with that. And I was like, I hope that this product becomes mass market and it's more available on all of the brands. And it looks like it is slowly becoming that way. It's trickled down to Toyota, and Chevrolet and GM have that too. I'm not sure if Ford does, not 100% sure, but so neat to see that technology. I think it's very useful, and I'm very grateful that it was included here. And then if you flip that, it turns right back into a regular mirror. So cool. And so then sunglasses holder, this is the button for your vent shade because this does have a panoramic moonroof. Love to see that. Really, really open air feel in here. And that really, really aids in that quite a bit. But I think that pretty much wraps up the front here. A lot of features up here. 10 minutes worth. Let's take a quick look at the back seats. Second row seat room is incredible. I did not think it would be this spacious back here. It is really nice. One of the best second rows that I personally think I've ever been in. You'll have cup holders back here. You'll have climate vents. There are no heated seats on this trim, unfortunately, back here, though you will have climate controls. That's nice. USB and USB-C. And then here is the AC 120 volt outlet. So that's nice to use for long road trips. And then you'll have, you know, this little thing that everybody always has, this little glare cover, little glare sun deflector. And it's very comfortable back here. I think one of the reasons I especially love these back seats are I have this seat almost all the way back for doing reviews, and I still have 4 or 5 inches of leg room. I mean, if we hop over here really quick to where I would probably normally sit, I have so much leg room back here. Now, if I move this row forward to help the third row out, obviously I'd be compromising some of that, but it's still incredibly spacious. The last thing I wanted to touch upon right here is you can fold this down for 2 cup holders. Let's take a quick look at the third row seats. Okay, moving to the third row, a couple of things I wanted to touch upon here with the second that I hadn't noticed previously. There are so many features on this. So if I pull that folds the second row seats all the way up. So really, there is not much movement positioning in the second row. They are stationary. And you do also have a button right here to fold the third row seat on your side down if you would want. I don't know particularly why you'd want to do that from here. I think it would be more convenient to do from the back, but let's take a look inside here. So we'll hop in, we'll lock this in place and pull the seat up. You know what? I have the third row seats as far back as they will go, and not terrible. Little claustrophobic, of course, back here, but I'd still have 2 or 3 inches of leg room at 5'9", and I have maybe 1 inch of headroom. I'm right up against the ceiling, but not horrific. And you do have little air vents back here, a little light. And this is so neat. Look at this. Ready? Folds up. You get your own little sun blocker. Oh my word, that's the neatest thing in the world. I love that. That's gotta be up there with the weird cargo thing in the back of this for just cute little strange designs. And then I'm noticing right here you'll also have a USB-C, which is a cool little thing. And then down here you will have a button that is going to, I guess I should show you guys because you're watching, that is going to give you recline and put the seat up more straight in the position that you're in. So if I recline that kind of as far back as it'll go there, I do, again, sacrifice a little bit of headroom, but I can lean back if I want. And even though my knees are touching the next row, I can rest a little bit more. So honestly, you could probably fit adults back here comfortably. All right, so briefly driving this particular Sequoia, unfortunately, I cannot get it out on the road because this is a pre-sold vehicle, but I really wanted to get the review for this out for you guys because I've been waiting quite a while for one of these Sequoias, and graciously Lancaster Toyota allowed me to review this. So the most I can do is gun it here in the parking lot, and I can say it sounds great, and it is very responsive when I lay on it, but I am not able to give my full driving impressions yet. I imagine a little bit later in the year when I get my hands on a different trim of this, I will probably be able to. So unfortunately, not a full driving impression right now. Well, that is pretty much going to wrap up my review of this Sequoia. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Now, before I go, I'd like to mention that I am a Christian, so if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you. You can leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I like to close with a weekly Bible verse reading. Sometimes I read a few, sometimes I read just one. Today, I'm reading from Matthew 5, verse 3. This is Jesus talking. He said, "God blesses those who realize their need for Him, for the kingdom of heaven is given to them." All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.